The man in our next story came to this country from West Africa to study in a place that could hardly be any more different from home, the Canadian North. But Ambe Chenemu soon discovered a tightly knit community and a world of diversity worth fighting for. He told his story to CBC's Asha Tomlinson.
I've come a long way, you know. I was a little boy who grew up in Cameroon. I came to Canada to, further my studies and, see what Canada has to offer. My name is Ambe Chenemu. I am the president of the Black Advocacy Coalition up north and BACupNorth for short.
Ambe now calls Yellowknife home, and he's ready to create change in his community.
BACupNorth is very young. We just started back in August of 2020. We're trying to, connect with government here to see if we could have more policies around racism in the workplace, go into some of the schools here and provide books and educate our young kids about Black history.
Why did you start the Black Advocacy Coalition up north?
The tragedy of George Floyd happened, last year. For me, it was the first time that I cried. I cried to see a real life oppression and murder of a Black person begging for their lives for almost 9 minutes. I was ready to march and die for something that I believe in. But I thought that, at some point we have to take up on the challenge and we need to do what we need to do, and that is what I did.
I said, what do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now!
So we organized the protest, and after that protest, I thought this can be it. We can't just, every time something happens, we can't just go out, do a march, and then we go home. We're off camera now. It cannot just end there, right?
Ambe says he experienced racism for the first time when he moved to Canada.
I got back from work and I walked into a restaurant. I wanted to have dinner. And so there was this seat that was open next to this gentleman, and I asked him, if there's anybody sitting here. And he said that I should leave because we're not wanted here. Nobody has ever told me that I don't belong, that I'm not wanted somewhere. And as a kid, growing up in Africa, in Cameroon, nobody has ever told me that there's something wrong with the color of my skin.
Still, he's heartened by the diversity of the North and the close connections he's made.
We come from different ethnicities. It's very interesting for a city of 20,000 people. I mean, we have people from Africa, from the Caribbean. We have, Afro-Canadians. It's really, I live 2 doors down from somebody that's from Cameroon as well. I've come to learn that we have a very strong and supportive Indigenous community up here. We really face almost the same similar struggles.
Have you seen a shift in perspective since the racial reckoning of 2020?
Definitely. There's a shift in conversation. There's a shift in opportunity. People are getting more engaged.
I want action! I want action! I want change!
I think that it is my duty to also pick up the baton so that I could pass it on to the next generation that is coming up. And I think that for me, that is really what drives me in this process. Is I don't want my children to live this life. I want them to tell a different story, a much happier story.
And Asha Tomlinson joins me now with more. Hi, Asha. Tell us a little bit more about what Ambe, hopes people will get out of this new organization.
Well, he says, Ginella, first and foremost, he wants people to know that the North is rich with diversity. And you see it there, right? It is really this tight-knit community. There is solidarity no matter what your racial background is. I can attest to that, living in Iqaluit, Nunavut, for a year. And so to Ambe, BACupNorth is an extension of that. Even though it's primarily a space for Black people, he says they've got many strong partnerships with the Indigenous communities, and the plans are to work together, all work together toward the same goals of equality, of justice, and of inclusion.
And what are his expectations for BACupNorth?
Well, he says the group, and admittedly, the group is small. So there are about 30 members right now, 6 executive members. They're all working on a volunteer basis. They're fine-tuning their objectives and their mandate. They're even working on a website right now. I mean, they just started last year with this organization. But what they want to do is spread the word, create an overall base, a bigger base as well. They're in talks with many organizations and groups and partnerships they're trying to make. But his hope for the future is big. He wants to expand, Ginella, within 2 to 3 years. I'm like, that's, good luck with that. I think he will get there, but he wants to find office space. He wants to hopefully hire some full-time employees and then expand across territories. So eventually he wants to see chapters of BACupNorth in Nunavut and in Yukon.
All right, CBC's Asha Tomlinson. Always good to see you, Asha. Thanks for sharing that story.
You too.
And for more stories like this, you can visit our website, cbc.ca/beingblack in Canada, or check us out on Instagram, CBC Being Black in Canada.